Okay, welcome to this video on Access tutorials. So what I'm going to do in this demonstration is show how we can make drop-down filter boxes. So I'm going to start with just a very basic version of an address book application that I built a while ago. So I just made a copy, kind of watered it down a lot, so get rid of some of the bells and whistles. Ordinarily, you'd have buttons here for adding and deleting and all that sort of stuff. But what I want to have here is we have a list of addresses. Well, we're going to have a list of addresses in here. And what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to filter them by last name, city, and state. Now, there's nothing in here right now because we haven't coded it. But eventually, this box here is going to have a list of all the last names. This is going to have a list of all the cities. This is going to have all the states. So not only will these boxes be searchable, but if I select, Washington from the state drop-down box, then the city will now be restricted to cities only in Washington. Whereas if this box is cleared, it'll be all cities. Same with last names. I can show all the last names who live in a particular state. So that's the idea. What we want to do. We want to make these searchable, and we want to make these boxes respond to each other to filter each other out. And that's what we're going to do here. So I have kind of the skeleton code put together here. I want to show you a couple of things. First off, as we go to our code window, I'm just going to show you a few basic things here. All right, so we have the form open. Now this isn't doing anything yet because I haven't programmed this build filter string yet. It didn't crash. It didn't give us an error because I left the stub of the sub in there. But build filter string, this is really what does the work. This is what takes what's in those drop-down boxes, if anything, and uses that to populate, just go back to the form, to filter this box and to put the names in this box, and these drop-down boxes will also be part of that. That's making sense? So that's form open. We also have a double-click event in the last names, LST, list names, and that's this box over here, LST names. So this is the double-click event. Basically what this is doing is we're going to set the current name ID to whatever we selected in here, and we're going to use that to fill in these form fields. That's really good. But there's nothing in there yet, so let's go ahead and take care of that. First thing we need to do is put something in fill in form fields. Actually, I think that is already... Oh yeah, that's already set. So, I put this in ahead of time. Again, query search, that's just the query that I'm using to populate. And so basic stuff here, we're going to find first whatever the name ID, and we're going to fill in the field. So you've seen that probably 100 times before if you're watching this. So I'm just going to go to the first of our coding examples. We want to go to build filter string. So I'm going to maximize this, and we're going to see how easy this is. The first thing I want to do is I have a global, not a global, but the module level variable str filter. So this is going to be everything after the where clause. You can, I was about to show you, we haven't typed it yet. This is going to be the where clause in our SQL query. And so that's what we're doing here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to set that to blank. If now name filt is the name of that name dropped, or that last name drop down combo box. If there's nothing, okay, if there's nothing in there, meaning no name was selected, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in this line. If it's not empty, if the name drop down is not empty, I'm putting this two. equals there. All right, so basically what this is setting L name equals, this is a section of the where clause, and I do this replace function in here. That's in case we have any apostrophes in the text. This allows us to basically escape it, so that if you put apostrophe in the text, it doesn't blow everything up. And that's going to be the end if. And so we're going to do the same thing for the city filter. Now we have to put an additional step in here. City filter, but when we get to city filter, we may or may not already have a name in there. So we need to start this with an and if there's already something in there. So I have to have another if-then statement in there. In other words, if it's already blank, then we can put then we're starting. In fact, I'll just copy this and paste it in here, and then we just got to change L name to city, and this is going to be city filled. Everything else is going to be the same. Now, if there's not already something, if there is already a name in there, then it's going to be the same as before. It's just that we have to put and city equals, etc. I guess I could have put the and part in a separate if statement and then just put the replace once, but easy enough to copy and paste that. Okay, so that is going to give us the city filter. Oh, I forgot. And one more, and we're going to do that for the state. Now, in my original database application, I had also filters for a company name, and you can make these regular expression where you can search for the middle of the, so you can make this really fancy. I just want you to get the general idea of how to do something like this. And so again, if we're starting, I think we used st for state, because state could be a keyword. So I want to leave that out. And state equals, and of course this is state filled. Oh no, this is still state. That's how I tell it. Type it in all caps, and then if it changes, you know it. All right, let's see. And that's it. Okay, now there's one more thing we have to do. I almost forgot. And that is, in fact, I'm even going to put a separator in here. Now that we've built that str filter, now we have to actually use it to populate the boxes. So what we're going to do is, if the filter is, if there's nothing in there, and I'm just selecting fields from the query. So if there's nothing in there, I mean, basically we're just selecting everything. We're not executing a where clause. But I don't know why my tabs are messed up here. But if there isn't, then what we're going to do, as a matter of fact, let's just start by copying this, and I'll put where because the string filter is, like I said, it's the where clause. So now I can put lst names requery. I'm sorry, but this is annoying me here. All right. Now it should work. Now, okay, so now you see it's populating this field, and if I double click, this is that fill form fields that I showed you earlier. So it's again, I don't want to make that part of the demo because we've all seen filling populating text boxes before. So we haven't done anything about these text boxes yet. In the next video, I'm going to go through, we're going to fill these, and we're going to put in some events to use them to filter each other and to filter this box.